What's going on, everybody? It's Stas here. So the stock market is on an absolute tear yet again today with 13 minutes left in the session. The S&P 500's up 1.4%. The Dow's up 1.2%. The Nasdaq 100's up 2%. And the Russell 2000's up about 0.3%. So I want to break down some technicals, go over a bunch of stocks to buy now, and where my head is at overall in this market. Are we overbought? Are we going to drop maybe a little bit here, sell off a bit? So hit the like button, subscribe, go down below, get yourself 2 stocks from WeBull, $30 free from M1 Finance. Both of those are limited time, and you guys can check out my Patreon for buy and sell alerts, call outs, morning update videos, more access to me throughout the day. All of those are linked down below. So let's get into it. Like I said, S&P 500, pretty much all the indexes that I track here did very well today. The S&P and the Dow, they hit all-time highs. Right now, you guys can see SPY is at 406, 407. And in this morning's video, we were talking about how I wouldn't be surprised if the SPY did end up going to 405, 407, 410. And that, it looks like, is the direction we're heading in right now. But hold on, slow down a bit there, because like you all read in the title, the stock market, is it overbought? Are we going to sell off a bit soon? And quite honestly, based on what I'm seeing here, look, the bulls are in charge. It's looking fantastic. We broke out of the ascending triangle here on SPY. All of that's great, but look at the RSI. RSI is very overbought. We're at 82 here on the hourly chart. If we pull back to the 4-hour chart, we're at 80 pretty much on this time frame as well. And come on, guys, look at the SPY here. Yeah, it could go up a little bit more, but is this a trend? Is this a chart that you'd want to buy into at this moment in time? Probably not. Probably not, to be completely honest. And I feel like, yeah, we could go to 410 maybe, but we're going to need to see a pull down, whether it's from 410 to 395, maybe to 398, $400 flat. I don't care where it is, but we're going to need to see a pullback. So in the very short term here, I'm not necessarily bearish, oh, the stock market's going to collapse, but I do think it needs to cool off a bit. I think we do need to see a bit of a consolidation, day or two, maybe a sell-off for a day or two, and then from there we could maybe consolidate a bit further or bounce right back up. So at this point in time, it's great. Everything's looking good, dandy, but again, we are a bit overbought, so keep that in the back of your mind. And also on top of that, we do have the Fed minutes here on Wednesday. That's worth watching for sure when it comes to policy, what the Fed is thinking, any updated thoughts there. So that might influence the market this week negatively or positively. And if we take a look here at QQQ, take a look at this. This looks even more overbought than SPY, and QQQ tracks the Nasdaq, you know, the tech-heavy index. You guys know that. QQQ's up 2% today. We called this out last week. We said if 315 breaks, we probably will fill the gap to 325. And this morning, literally a couple hours ago, I mentioned now that we're peaking out of 325 and the Nasdaq futures were looking good pre-market, there was a chance we could fill the gap up even higher, and we ended up going from 325 to 330 on QQQ. And yeah, it's great. The bulls are in charge, but look at the RSI. RSI is pretty much off the page. We haven't seen a pullback in the past couple of days, so I think this needs to pull back, maybe down to about 325, 322, anywhere in that area. I think that could be a nice dip buy here on QQQ. And take a look at NDX, the Nasdaq 100. This filled up the entire gap from 12,800 all the way to 13,000 rather, all the way to 13,300. Now we came all the way to 13,500, 600. And by the way, we've been calling this out, right? And now it's just like, okay, we're seeing the big tech names do well. Google, gosh, guys, Google was awesome today. It's up. What is it up now? Over 4%. That's one of my biggest holdings in the stock market. So I'm very happy about that. We have Facebook doing well. Apple is slowly bouncing back. Amazon slowly bouncing back. And maybe this is really why we're seeing the markets do very well here in the short term, because a lot of these big tech names, they have a big weighting on the overall overall market, and they're doing very well right now. So what are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments what you're thinking, what you are up to right now. And let's get into some stocks now that I'm looking at, some that I'm personally involved with and that I want to add money to. So number one, and did we not call this out? We did, guys. We called this out. Tesla, TSLA. We mentioned how a lot of analysts were saying, okay, 160,000 vehicles, 165,000 vehicles delivered for Q1. And the fact that they came in at about 185,000, that completely blew analysts out of the water there. And I believe, and I mentioned this the past couple of videos here on Patreon and on YouTube, I believe that Tesla, that was not priced into the stock. The fact that they were going to do 180,000 deliveries for this quarter. And the stock went up 7%. It was up over 7% pre-market. Now it's sitting still nicely up about 5% on the day. It's a little bit under 700 right now. So I'm very happy about that. And as Model X and S start ramping up, guys, I think easily, and maybe not, I could be wrong, but I think this year, 2021, they're going to get over 1 million vehicles delivered. And we're also seeing the chip shortage, the whole chip situation going on, and that's why analysts also thought they weren't going to do that well in Q1. And that might still be a hindrance, but it looks like Tesla, again, they beat the estimates. So that is a good sign. Tesla moving up today is another good sign that momentum is starting, and we're slowly getting to the point where we're back over 700, but still, we're not there. We're still under 700, and 700 is such a big resistance on Tesla, guys. I mean, we haven't broken out of 700 in over a month at this point, and back in the end of February, we struggled at 740, so I think 700 needs to break. We have to fill the gap up to 720, then 740, and once we get out of 740, that is where I think we're going to see a big rally in Tesla, and maybe we get back to 800 plus at that point. That is where I think we would be going. So yeah, it looks like we've consolidated for a month. We're slowly trying to push out. The tides are slowly turning, but we're just not there quite yet on Tesla. And like I said, guys, this is one of my biggest positions, my biggest swing positions. I've mentioned this a lot in the previous videos. So Tesla, I might even add more to it. Probably not, because I've already built my position. I mean, I'm in at 610. I bought a lot on the dip, you know, from what, 800 to about 610. And I didn't buy in the 500s, which I do regret a little bit now. But it's okay. It's okay, because I've built out the position for the most part. Maybe I buy more, probably not. And yeah, we're going to ride out this one. So that is TSLA. AMC, I'm sure you guys have been in a movie theater now. Maybe some of you, maybe none of you. Let me know in the comments. I personally haven't been in one in a couple of months. I went back and I actually rented out an AMC theater. I'm not sure if you guys remember this. I mentioned it before, but I rented out an AMC theater. It was about $100, and if you get a bunch of people to go, I mean, look, you could pay $5, $10, and you could see a movie on the screen. And sure, it wasn't a blockbuster movie, that brand new movie. I think we saw The Grinch. It was back in Christmas time, right? So I went to AMC, and that's the last time I've been to a movie theater. But now that the V-Shot's out, now that the economy's slowly opening up, people are getting more comfortable going out in public and so forth, packing up these theaters, or at least going to the theaters. You know, a lot of people are going back to theaters. This is a very, very good sign. And there was a big movie that came out recently, Godzilla vs. Kong, and I actually didn't watch it yet. I'm probably going to watch it one of these nights this week. I have HBO Max, and you guys could actually watch it on HBO Max if you do have that. It's about $15 a month or something, and that's through April 30th. So check out that on HBO Max if you guys have it. And no, they're not sponsoring this, guys. Come on. Why would they sponsor me? But anyway, yeah, I might watch that movie, and a lot of people watched it over this Easter weekend. The box office, it actually topped the pandemic box office at $32.2 million over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So the best movie so far during this whole crisis. That is good. That's a good sign the tides are turning slowly, right? And over the 5-day Easter weekend, if you include, what is that? Monday as well, I guess. I don't know. But over the past 5 days, the film brought in $48.5 million in the U.S. and Canada, even though only 55% of the theaters were open in the North America region compared to the total open in 2019. And that's actually according to data from ComScore. So they did pretty well, that movie. And sure, it's not the biggest hit ever, but again, the tides are turning, which is a very, very good sign here. So you guys can see AMC's up 13% on the day, and B. Riley FBR, they actually upgraded AMC to a buy with a $13 price target. So it's up 13% today, probably off of the Godzilla vs. Kong numbers, the optimism around that, the whole theater industry, right? And now that this buy alert came in, or this buy rating from B. Riley FBR, and I'm not even sure what firm that is, who that is, but I mean, these could be things moving the stock in the short term. And on the 4-hour chart here, what we're noticing is head and shoulder, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and we're also seeing that the head and shoulder is still intact, and we're about right at that 50 moving average on the 4-hour chart here. If this is able to break, we could fill the gap to $12, which is the neckline here of the head and shoulder. And if the neckline were to break, probably $14, $15 is where we'd be going. And B. Riley FBR with that $13 price target, he might get that, or she, I don't know, sooner than expected, guys. So, yeah, watch out for AMC. This is a nice one, in my opinion. Nice momentum right now. Ford is another one which I have never talked, I mean, maybe before in passing, but I can't even remember the last time I've talked about Ford here on the YouTube channel. And no, I don't own this stock. Probably never will. I'm just looking at this as a short-term trade, as a trade in general. Maybe a swing, maybe a day trade. Oh, and there goes the markets, guys. Maybe a day trade in and out. But Ford overall here on the 4-hour is breaking out. I really like the trend here, which is why I'm talking about it and looking at it as a trade. We can see the stock went up 4.5% today. It's clearly breaking out of the wedge that's formed on this 4-hour chart, and we're still pretty low. I mean, not too off the all-time highs. We're about $1 away, but that's about 5-6%. So, I mean, now that we're breaking the wedge, we broke the 180 and the 50 moving averages here. I believe this is a slow move, or it could happen quickly, but this is a sign that we're seeing the move play out. We're seeing this window slowly fill from where we are now, a little under $13, and it could end up going to $13.60, maybe even breaking out of $13.60. So Ford, I like it. Again, it is not a long-term investment for me, at least. You guys can do what you want based on your research, and I'm just looking at it more as a trade, guys. So that is ticker symbol F. Another one here is ticker symbol V, which you guys can see it went up over 1% today, and it's peaking slowly but surely. It's peaking above that 218, 220 level of resistance. We ended up closing at 219. Again, we went up 1%. So this one's not fully out of the woods yet. I feel like we might see some short-term selling pressure in Visa, but the window I'm looking at it here, maybe we don't even see a sell-off, maybe we see some consolidation, but overall, if it could hold 218, 215, 220, hold this level strong, I believe we're going to fill the gap to 227, 228. I think this window right here, you guys can see it, is the next window to fill, and that's going to give us about $10 per share upside. And it's not the craziest percentage-wise. I mean, we're talking about 3-4%, but still, I think Visa has some good upside. And what we also notice here, I don't want to get too crazy with you guys in terms of all these patterns at once, but screw it. We're here. We can see it. The head and shoulder, left, the head, the right shoulder right here, and where we are now at about 218, 219, 220, that is the neckline of the head and shoulder. So this must break. And again, like I said, if it does break 220, we're probably going to go high 220s, 230, and so forth here with Visa and MasterCard, which is Visa's competitor. I personally own MasterCard. This is one of my favorite long-term investments for growth. They also pay a little dividend, which is kind of like the cherry on top. The dividend's about 1%, not even at this point in time, and they'll probably grow it for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Eventually, MasterCard is going to be a nice dividend-paying company down the line, but at this point, they're still obviously reinvesting in themselves, and they're growing the business instead of paying out those earnings to the shareholders. But anyway, in the very short term right now, what we're seeing with MasterCard is very similar to what we're seeing with Visa. We're seeing a head and shoulder. We have the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and we're also uptrending by the looks of it as we're maintaining higher lows. We just held the 180 moving average here at 355. We rallied off that point. In fact, now we're peaking out of the neckline. The neckline here on MasterCard's at 365, 366. Now we're peaking out of that. We closed above 368 today. So this is a good sign that we're going to see a cup pattern potentially form all the way up to 380, maybe 385, now that we're seeing the momentum out of the neckline. So that gives MasterCard about 5+% upside here in the short term. And like I said, I'm in MasterCard. It's not a short-term trade for me. It's a long-term investment, and I've been buying this thing religiously over the past couple of months, just adding in, even buying fractional shares, guys. I mean, that is what I do as well on my M1 Finance portfolio. So I'm always, averaging in. And by the way, you guys can check that portfolio out. All you have to do is go to my playlist. You guys can see I've built this portfolio from $0 all the way to where it is today. So go check that out. And if you want, you could also get $30 free from M1 Finance using my link down below. All you have to do is deposit any amount of money, and you get $30 free to invest with. And again, that's linked down below. And the next stock here is Colgate Palmolive, ticker symbol CL. You guys can see the beautiful inverse head and shoulder that is slowly but surely forming here on CL. We have the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder right here, and today we're up almost $1 per share, up over 1%, which for a company like CL, it's more of a mature company. Going up 1% in a day, I mean, it's not the craziest of things, but it's pretty solid. I mean, it's better than, let's say, Tesla going up 1%. Tesla going up 1%, you're like, whatever. But with CL, you're like, okay, let's go. 1%, that's a good day. And I believe at this point in time, we might consolidate a bit more, maybe a couple days of up and down choppy trading here for CL. But overall, I think the second we breach $80 per share, which we're pretty close to right now, and we fill the gap to $81 and $81 breaks, which was the high from back in the middle of October, that is where we're going to see the right shoulder and the inverse head and shoulder here most likely complete, and this won't be a 1 day, 2 day move. It might take a couple months, but overall the trend is going to continue upwards if 81 is able to break, which is right where we are right now. So watch out for CL here, also known as Colgate Palmolive, and Nvidia Nvda is another one that I'm personally watching, guys. We mentioned this one this morning. It went up 1.2% today, up over $7 per share. And like I mentioned, 555 is a big resistance. That's been a struggle point for the stock really all throughout November, December, into January, and even a little bit in the beginning of February. And now that we're peaking out of 555, we closed almost at 560. Momentum is slowly shifting, and I mean, honestly, it's been shifting for the past couple of days here with Nvidia. You could also argue it's overbought, so be careful about that. But overall, we're seeing the bulls take over. And if we pull back a bit, 545, 550, 555, we might consolidate there a little bit. But overall, I see the trend continuing, and we could be able to see 575, 580, $600 per share on Nvidia. So watch out for these stocks, guys. Tesla, AMC, Ford, Visa, MasterCard, Colgate Palmolive, Nvidia. You know, I'm obviously watching the big tech names as well. Google, I'm so happy about this, guys. We called this one out as well. This one broke out of the wedge. I've been buying this stock for months. I was even adding into this one last week. You know, I nibbled some, fractional shares there. And I mean, this thing just exploded. So these are the main stocks I'm focusing on right now. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell if you guys want to keep up with the content here. And feel free to get into the Strive Smart Discord chat. Get $30 from M1 Finance. All you have to do is use my link down below. Deposit any amount of money. You get $30 for free. Same with the WeBull link. Deposit $100. You get 2 stocks, and those are valued up to $1,600. And if you want more access to me throughout the day, real-time buy and sell alerts, real-time call-outs, morning update videos as well, you can check out my Patreon. All of those are linked down below. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. As always, keep crushing the markets, guys. Stay safe out there.